to Doctor Who Time and Space, our weekly. Turn off. Thank you for interrupting me. Let's start again. Whoa! Welcome to Doctor Who Time and Space, our weekly father and son Doctor Who podcast.
With twice as much music as any other podcast on the air.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. What do we have on this week's show, Lewis?
We will be discussing the whole concept of regeneration.
Well done. We'll also be giving our thoughts on all 6, yes, not just 3, but 6 episodes of The Ice Warriors.
We shall be discussing the news.
We'll be doing, I think, Who to Face this week.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah. I think we are.
And the randomizer, we're pressing that yet again, the return of the magic randomizer button, and that will keep you entertained for the next hour or so.
Okay, so at the starting point then, what you been up to this week, young lad?
I've actually been up to a lot more than normal that is Who related.
Mm-hmm.
I've been buying a few bits of merch this week.
That's what we got.
I've been off this week, so I've been doing stuff. And so I've got the Ghostlight DVD, which hopefully it won't be like the Ark where it took me 2 months to get through it.
Yeah.
But it's a Sylvester McCoy. Did I say what the episode was?
Yeah.
It's a Sylvester McCoy episode. I've never seen it before.
Okay. Is it right? Am I right in thinking that probably of all the Doctors, the Sylvester McCoy era is the one that you've seen the least of?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So is it?
Wait, no. Actually, I've seen quite a few episodes now.
Yeah.
Of Sylvester McCoy.
So is this in a good period of McCoy's era, or is it?
This looks like it's going to be one. This is near the end.
Near the end, is it? Okay.
So it's a lot better than the Paradise Travels and stuff.
Okay.
There are a few. Actually, I've seen most of them now. I was actually looking for the Gunfighters, but I couldn't find it. Or I was looking for Survival.
Okay. Yeah.
Because I've seen a bit of that, I think. I don't think I've seen all of it.
Yeah, it's probably quite a good one to have, actually, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I only got an early child a little while ago.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago.
So you had seen it a long time ago.
I had.
A few times. So.
Quite a few times, yeah.
So so you bought that. What
I also bought the Weapons of Past Destruction DVD. The Christopher Eccleston, Rose, and Captain Jack Titan comics. And as you may know, I quite like the Titan comics. This week I've read quite a lot of it.
Is it good?
3 mornings. I usually do a little read in the mornings. And 3 mornings this week at least I've been reading Titan comic magazines because I got Tales from the TARDIS, the new issue, which I could catch up on the 12th, 10th and 11th.
Because I mean, I don't really read Titan comics at all.
No.
I've only seen them when you've had them. Do you think they capture the essence of the Doctors? So because when you're reading
in their personality.
Yeah, so when you're reading like this one, the Eccleston one, does it feel like
sometimes it does? Yeah.
So it feels like it. What I guess I was trying to get around, does it just feel like a fairly generic character, i.e., it's the Doctor, and regardless of what face he's got, he comes over the same, or does it come across? Can you imagine the actor in there?
It depends, because sometimes you can imagine the actor, but sometimes it's just like they forget about the characteristics. But no, I think most of the time you can see it.
Yeah. Okay. The other thing, you said to me that the other day you started listening to one of your Big Finish productions.
Yes. And by the way, we'll talk about it a bit more later on, but there's a new Big Finish on iPlayer at the moment, so catch up on that. I've got to catch up on it in the next less than a month. Okay. But no, Terra Firma, I've started listening to that.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to delve into Big Finish. Probably most of you won't know, and even I forgot about this, but quite a few years ago now. I forgot about it, but I did listen to a few big finishes on Channel 4.
Oh, okay.
So I
On Channel
think
4. Channel 4, Radio 4.
Radio 4.
Radio 4, yeah.
I think I've watched. I think I lied the other day. I think I've watched some big finishes before.
Yeah. Yes, I think you probably have. So I can remember you listening to some new audio plays. I didn't realise they were big finish ones.
You can borrow it after me if you want.
That'd be cool.
A CD, because you've never listened to one.
No,
is that right?
No, I haven't.
Sorry to embarrass you.
No, that's quite all right. I will embarrass myself more than anything, probably, as the show goes on.
Yeah.
What is there anything else Who related you've been up to, or is that probably?
Other than watching the randomizer story this week.
The Ice Warriors.
That's probably it.
Yeah. What about non-Who related things?
Non-Who related, not much this week, to be honest.
You eventually caught up with all your Britain's Got Talent.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finally.
You said you watched a couple more Red Dwarfs.
Yeah, I watched the Legion one and the Wild West one.
Cool.
I heard earlier you haven't done too much this week. You
No,
haven't done too much at all.
Well, as for last week, when I was coughing and spluttering throughout the majority of the podcast, which to your annoyance, I think.
Yes.
I've been feeling pretty grotty really most of the week, so I've been.
You're much better this show.
I feel a lot better than I did last one. I still have a little, but I'm getting there. But as a result of that, it just meant I slept through most of the week really. So I just tend to be one of these things where I feel like I come home from work, go to sleep, wake up, go to work again. So,
and then go to sleep.
And go to sleep.
And we don't want to repeat that because that could go on.
So as a result of that, I haven't really watched anything. I still haven't got around to carrying on the Blake Sevens like I thought about. I think the only thing I watched on TV over the whole of the week was more Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
That's it. Which is great, as always. But
one of the worst ones, is it? Like people say it was?
I didn't think so. I thought it was a really, really strong episode. But I think sometimes people don't like it when it gets to some of the slower ones, because I think particularly because this particular series of Game of Thrones has been at such a pace. I think when they put it back a little bit, people are disappointed because they want more deaths, more kills.
Yeah.
Whereas actually, I don't think you can have something going 100 miles an hour all the time.
No.
If you every time you watched it, there was another character being killed off. After a while, it becomes that in itself became predictable, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
So you need to have some sort of light and dark in my mind. And I think it was an episode. It was halfway point of the series, and I think it was leading into the second half. Really.
Okay.
A setup. Aside from that, no, I haven't watched anything at all, I believe. I still haven't got through the Daredevils. I still haven't started Sherlock. I still haven't seen that Pee Wee Herman film. So much to do, so much.
What do you think this week you're going to? What are you going to watch next then? What are you going to start with first?
Well, I think I want to finish me Blake Sevens off, I think.
How far through are you?
I'm still in the first series.
Are you?
Yeah.
That'll take a while then.
So it will take a while. It's just getting time.
It is.
I took some time off in the evening just to veg out and watch geeky stuff.
Yeah. Do you have any?
Yeah, I've got some time I can take off. Also, tomorrow, if I get a chance, I think I told you the other day, but I've got a bit of a theory, a bit of a Game of Thrones theory in my head, so I might actually do one of these rare things of making a Mark Freak Super Geek video, a new one.
Okay, cool.
So
that's not behind the sofa.
It's not behind the sofa. No, because most of my channel is replicating the behind the sofas that we have on your channel, isn't it? Really? Just share them across the two.
Also, you have been appearing on Battle Show Beyond Boss Fights. Do you want to advertise that?
Yeah, well, it's definitely worth checking out. Brax Wolf's Beyond Boss Fights channel, which you can get on iTunes, on YouTube, and from his own website, which from memory I think is braxwolf.com, I think, was it? I think also was it beyondbossfights.com.
Let's see.
Brax Wolf.
But he is a fan of Doctor Who, isn't he?
He likes Doctor Who, yeah. Yeah, I think he's mainly his big love, I think, is sort of like
Gaming.
superheroes and
Yeah.
gaming and things. But his podcast's a really, really good one because he, as the title suggests, beyond boss fights, he doesn't talk solidly about the game. He's more talking about what goes on in the background. So, for instance, there's an episode he did about women in gaming. There's an episode that I did with him around machinima. But this particular episode was basically him looking back on the last 2.5 years of his podcast, and just a number of the guest stars, including me, and everybody just giving their thoughts as to what they're doing in the meantime. And I gave a bit of a plug to this show on there.
Yes.
So there we have it. So
Thank you for
in
that.
return, we give a bit of a plug to his. So it's braxwolf.com.
Yes, braxwolf.com.
So, should we move on to the main business?
We should do. Nothing else to
report from me, no?
I just need to wait until this is loading. So last week, we had a bit of filming news.
Mm-hmm.
That Series 10 was going to start filming in July.
Yeah.
Now, it's been announced that Series 10 is going to start filming in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, that makes it half one, sort of like a couple of months earlier, a couple of weeks earlier, really.
Yes. So, give a bit of background, really, that Peter Capaldi and new companion Pomke have joined for Series 10.
Yeah.
And basically, Peter Capaldi revealed at Calgary Expo today that at the panel that it was going to start in 2 weeks' time. So we should be getting some news about that quite soon.
So I wonder what's happening about the Christmas episode, because we know that
maybe they've already filmed it.
It could have, couldn't they?
Because they said it was filming in May, so maybe.
Maybe that's it. And particularly if it's all done, if it's predominantly going to be done indoors in the studio.
Yeah.
And as you said, you mentioned that there was sightings of Captain Jack.
Yeah, but I don't know whether that was for his Torchwood audios or not. Because he has had some Torchwood audios out with Big Finish recently, and as we revealed last week, that there's a new Torchwood audio called Torchwood Outbreak, where it reunites the team. So John does a few of them a year.
But I imagine they're probably filmed in London, aren't they? Or filmed, recorded.
I think so, but apparently there's a Big Finish studio in Cardiff.
Oh, is it?
Apparently.
Okay, well, maybe they do record them all in Cardiff. I don't know. I guess it makes sense if Cardiff is Doctor Who central.
So, Peter Capaldi revealed at Calgary Expo that it's going to be starting filming in 2 weeks' time.
Exciting.
So, hopefully, because at the moment we're struggling to think of news articles, so we're just thinking of going random places.
We could get to that stage, we might start making up news, and like long lost, unknown William Hartnell episode found that nobody even knew existed, called Terror of the Tractators, yes.
That's not a monster I made up. I was thinking of something to make up, and I just thought of the Frontiers monsters.
Yeah. So we won't really make it. Everything here is as factual as we believe it.
Yeah, and hopefully, because we're nearing filming time, hopefully we should get some more news for Series 10. And Michelle Gomez has seemingly revealed that she'll be returning for Series 10 of Doctor Who, although not officially confirmed by the BBC.
Okay.
But she has confirmed it herself. But the BBC don't know about it.
Do you think that Missy is going to be very much a Moffat character, and that perhaps Michelle Gomez's run will be limited to the Moffat series, and that perhaps as soon as a new Chris Chibnall era takes hold, that he might reach out for his own brand of master? I
don't think he'll have, if it's not Missy, then I don't think he'll have one straight away, master.
No. I mean, interesting, and just taking a bit off topic, as we like to periodically.
Yeah.
Aside from the first two doctors who never met the master,
Yeah.
have any of the other doctors not met the master?
Christopher Eccleston has not met the master, and I think that's about it. Matt Smith.
That's not ever mean.
No.
Okay, no, you're right, didn't he? And presumably John Hurt.
Well,
if you count that.
he must have faced he must have seen the Doctor in the Time War.
True, yeah. True. But we haven't seen them. Okay.
We haven't.
So, any other news at all?
Oh wait,
Sorry, you were still talking about
she revealed that at MegaCon in Orlando, but Moffat will no doubt take the Master to another outing before he departs the show. Now, last series, we thought she was going to be in it twice because she said about her daughter. Do you think that will be resolved?
You would think so, wouldn't you? It would seem odd to have left that hanging with no intended resolution. So I would think Moffat's got something up his sleeve there. And maybe that will form the basis of the arc this series. Hopefully, if they have an arc this series, hopefully it'll be a stronger one than what they had last time.
It didn't really get solved.
It never really went anywhere, did it?
No.
So it built it up and up and up about the hybrid, and then I'm still not really sure
I
now
think
who the hybrid was meant to be, if anything.
I suppose another story arc, which was probably a much better story arc, was the one of Clara getting a bit too cocky.
Exactly,
that was much
strong.
better.
And the whole concept of Astral Deer was good.
But the hybrid storyline, the confession jar, that went somewhere.
Yeah.
But the other one.
Yeah, it's a bit of a letdown, wasn't it? You just assume something really cool was going to happen, and it never did.
The Missy one was good.
Yeah.
I've said before.
Yeah.
I expect better of you, Moffat.
Yes.
Talking about Moffat, he's talked candidly about the issue of diversity in Doctor Who.
And he expects better of himself.
Yes. So, in the latest issue of Dawn, he said, "We decided that the new companion was going to be non-white, and that was an absolute decision, because we need to do better on that. We just have to. I don't mean that we've done terribly. Our guest casts are among the most diverse on television, but I feel as though I could have done better overall."
But,
So,
So now I always have a bit of a problem with this, because to me, it shouldn't ever be a matter of trying to do better. It always seems that as soon as people say we must do better on this, that it's sort of increasing the focus on the whole issue. Surely it shouldn't actually matter what race
it
or
should just
sexuality.
matter on whether they're a good actor.
Exactly.
But Paul McKee's meant to be good. So.
And I'm sure she will be. But I don't know. I just always feel a bit funny about it. I don't think it should ever be an issue, but we make it an issue.
That's what I was what I thought yesterday, because did you hear that article on the BBC News site about the original intention before Peter Capaldi, I think it was to have a black doctor.
Was it?
But he turned down the role.
Okay.
I don't know who it is.
Yeah.
And I just thought, it doesn't matter whether they're black. They may not have been a good actor.
Yeah. Yeah, in the end, it should just purely be down to what feels right. I guess the problem comes because historically the culture has been one where there's been a lot of white actors in it over the years, that it feels like they need to physically make a point of it, of what they're doing. But I don't know, I just struggle with it. It's the whole equality and diversity agenda I struggle with.
We're not being racist here.
No, I think we're being quite the opposite. What we're sort of saying is that it shouldn't even be an issue.
No, it shouldn't.
But I think we're just in a time where everybody feels the need to make an issue of it.
Yeah.
And to me, by actually outwardly talking about the subject, as we are now, you make more of an issue of it than if you just carry on. But there we go. Anyway,
So
I won't make an issue of it anymore.
So we think, Stephen, we would like, it looks like Pearl McKee is going to be a good companion, but it shouldn't be on race. It should be on acting quality, and that's our sum up of that news article. Exactly.
Do we have other news as well?
I think we do.
We can make a big issue about.
So classic series costumes up for sale.
I saw you flash this up on the screen just a minute ago, and I thought, I want that Ice Warrior costume.
I know. And a number of costumes and props from the classic series of Doctor Who are up for auction in the Bamford's Film and Memorabilia sale, taking place in Derby on Wednesday, 8th of June 2016. Items include a Cyberman costume from Earthshock, a Thal spacesuit costume from Planet of the Daleks, a space pack worn by Peter Davidson in Enlightenment, a Dalek Trooper costume from the 1984 story Resurrection of the Daleks, and a Magna Beast costume from the Caves of Androzani, a Soldeed costume from Haunted Nyman, an Ice Warrior costume from Monster Perdon, and a Mara Snake effigy from the story Snake Dance. A number of small props and collectibles are also available. Full details at the Bamford's website in the show notes.
If I had loads and loads of cash, I would buy that.
How expensive do you think these are?
Oh, do you know, I haven't obvious. I imagine I gave for a fair few hundred, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, the ones we got on the website that you're going to include the link to in the show notes. We've got within there, I don't know what all of them are, but you've got the Mara, haven't you, there? You've got the Ice Warrior costume, the Sideman. Is that the Androsani ones?
Yeah.
Yeah. And what are the other two? Do you know?
We have...
One of them's a Thal suit, is it? Presumably.
Yeah, I think so.
And is it a Soldeed costume, the other one, maybe? I haven't seen horns in them, so...
Yeah, I think so.
So, which one of those would you go for?
I love the Ice Warrior.
I love the Ice Warrior one. The Cyberman one's cool, and so is the Androzani one.
The Mara one's quite cool as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would go for any of those four.
Yeah.
But I'd say the Ice Warrior one is the coolest one.
Yeah. It's fab to have one of those, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
What do you think would be the one that goes for the lead? I mean, these two aren't very...
The ones we wear, they're just costumes. They won't give us much. I imagine the one that would give the most out of that would probably be the Earthshock Sideman, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Which is really cool.
It is.
That would be a great costume.
So you can see those in the show notes at misslistmean.weebly.com. The amount of times we've said that web address on the show is unbelievable.
Mm. So, is there any other news worth mentioning? I know you said it was quite light on news.
Final bit of news today. So Colin Baker becomes the current Doctor again on British Airwaves as BBC Radio 4 Extra begin a new run of Big Finish adventures on the radio Saturdays at 6 p.m. and are repeated at midnight. So last week, the crimes of Thomas Brewster kicked off the run, broadcast in two parts over the next couple of weeks. The story also features Maggie Stables as the Sixth Doctor's longtime audio companion, Evelyn, and R.I.P. to her, and guest stars David Troughton as Raymond Gallagher.
So who was Evelyn?
Pardon?
Who was Evelyn?
A companion.
So when you said R.I.P., is that the actress and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, is she? Okay.
Apparently, ages ago.
Oh, really?
Not ages ago.
Okay.
A couple of years ago.
I don't know too much about this. So.
I don't either.
Yeah.
I've never listened to a Sixth Doctor one. I've listened to Fifth Doctor once. I know that.
Yeah. Okay.
This weekend also sees a repeat of the 50th anniversary programme Who Made Who, which was presented by Tracy Ann Oberman and featured a variety of interviews and special documentaries, plus the mockumentary from 2004, Whatever Happened to Susan Foreman, which starred Jane Asher as the titular character whose life is examined some years after being left on Earth. The 3-hour programme follows on from Doctor Who at 7 p.m. And that's like Whatever Happened to... That's like the Sarah Jane one, isn't it?
Yeah. That's interesting, isn't it?
And both The Crimes of Thomas Brewster and Who Made Who are on iPlayer.
So,
Or the iPlayer Music.
So certainly that's something that's available to British. Because I don't know whether abroad, whether you can pick up on the iPlayer or not. I have no idea. But,
Neither do I.
But they would be able to hear Radio 4. Video 4 Extra, I think, on the internet, I'd imagine. So,
Yeah.
I'm assuming. Not 100% sure, but I'm assuming you can. But there we have it. Anything else you wanted to report?
I don't think there is. Is there anything else you've seen this week that you want to
I don't think so, no.
mention?
No, and I think we're probably about that time that we need to move on to the other articles anyway.
Okay, let's move on to our main feature.
So our main feature this week is...
Regeneration!
Regeneration.
And thank you last week for leaving the comments on Mark's Freak Super Geek Twitter.
I should probably pick some of those out, shouldn't I?
Do you want
Yeah, I probably should actually. Let me just find them in a second. So, what was the article we had last week?
We talked about a little bit about the underrated episodes of Doctor Who,
underrated.
and thank you those who have left comments.
Yeah, I mean, I had a couple of people come back when I posed the question. Who Will Die said Victory of the Daleks. Apart from these multicoloured disasters, Battlefield and Silver Nemesis. So, what do you think of any of those three?
Battlefield and Silver Nemesis. I don't have a problem with those.
Yeah.
I think they're a bit underrated. Victory of the Daleks. Not too fond of it, but it's an opinion. Yeah.
And a true Doctor Who fan came back and said, The Rescue, The Web Planet, and Boomtown.
So The Rescue's a good one.
Yeah.
I love The Rescue. The Web Planet, it has a good storyline.
Mm-hmm. Is that the last one with William Hartnell? Web Planet? No, that's
no.
The Web Planet, isn't it?
And
Web Planet, which one's that?
the Zarbi one.
Okay.
And Boomtown, not too fond of it, but as I said, it's an opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I went back on that, and actually the response was that true Doctor Who fan said, I find the Boomtown fascinating, the Doctor dealing with the consequences of his actions, but I do see why it's seen as unpopular.
Okay.
So it was nice to get a few.
Thank you, those people.
Yeah.
But
we'll tweet out some thoughts on regeneration this time.
And if anyone comments, we'll be back on that next show. But regeneration for us, talking about regeneration now.
Yep.
Also, you can leave your thoughts in the comments if you ever need to.
Yes, that's always nice.
But regeneration.
Okay.
Over the years, we have had the Doctor regenerate quite a few times, haven't we?
We have.
And let's go back to the very beginning. I mean, let's see. What is your favourite? How many regenerations have you seen? How many regeneration stories?
How many regeneration stories? I mean, I've seen the regeneration sequences of all of them.
Yeah, but the actual regeneration stories.
Regeneration stories. I think probably the only ones I haven't seen are the first Doctor and the third Doctor,
Okay.
I think.
You haven't seen Colin Baker, but that's it.
No, you're right. I haven't seen Colin Baker's either. Aside from that, I'm pretty sure I've seen them all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you have.
Yes.
You've seen Caves, you've seen the War Games,
Yeah.
you've seen the Godless.
But I have seen all of the regeneration sequences.
Yes, you have.
And
many times.
I can tell you what I think is the strongest one.
What?
Tom Baker's.
The Tom Baker's one is a very interesting concept. I mean,
I think
basically the Watcher.
And I think the fact that that basically sat there is an important part of the whole of that story.
And then became
Watcher, and then became the regeneration. I really liked that.
I thought that was a very interesting sort of twist. And you remembered watching that one from a child.
I do, yeah. It's one of my earliest Doctor Who memories. What about you? What's your favourite regeneration?
As you said, I think the Fourth Doctor one is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
Let me say something. I do like the New Who regenerations.
Mm-hmm.
Apart from the 11th Doctor, don't you think they've got a bit repetitive? I mean, the 8th to War, War to 9th, 9th to 10th, and 10th to 11th are all basically the same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
What do you think? Do you agree that it's repetitive?
I do think that. I also think probably I'm going to have to go into one of my 10th Doctor moments now. But I think probably my least favourite regeneration is the 10th Doctor, just because it was dragged out for such a long time.
It was dragged out for such a long time. End of Time is, in my opinion, a very good episode. And it's good because it doesn't get overshadowed by the fact that it's a Christmas one. But the 10th, it does get overshadowed by the 10th Doctor's regeneration.
Yeah.
They are trying to make it big.
Yeah.
But as your problem with Stolen Earth Journey's End, Russell T Davies most of the time seems to drag a lot of things out.
It just seems over dramatic.
Yeah.
And I think probably they knew that, and I think that's why the regeneration from Matt Smith to Peter Capaldi was quite the opposite.
Yeah.
It was like really, really quick. I know the build up to it was fairly long still, wasn't it?
I suppose it
was pretty instant, wasn't it?
I suppose it was Russell T Davies' final episode as well, so he wanted to end on something.
Yeah, but it just became a bit cheesy, I think. The whole thing of him going back, whilst he's regenerating effectively, he's going back and seeing all of those faces and things like that from the past.
Do you think it would have been better if all of the people, in Stolen Earth Journey's End, or do you think it was better if they all came together for the final 10th Doctor story instead of Journey's End Stolen Earth?
I think they should just not have done that.
Apart from Sarah Jane. We like Sarah Jane.
You see, the other problem I have with this, I'm sort of going a little bit off topic, but the way that RTD dealt with Rose, I think actually I found the exit of Rose the first time round a little bit over the top, but at the same point it's quite touching. It's only the whole romanticism bit of it that I found a bit.
It is quite emotional though.
But I then found that was really the impact of that was then negatively impacted upon by the return of her.
Yeah, and I think
it's belittled really
Turn
the whole lot of it.
I mean, she says, which I think Army of Ghosts is a bit dramatic, is because she says, "This is the day I died," and then she keeps coming back from then on.
Yeah, I think it just belittles it a little bit. Very much in the same way as the discussion we've had previously around Face Raven and the Clara exit. I'll tell you another one of my favourite regenerations,
Yeah.
and that's Patrick Troughton's
Now,
regeneration into John Pertwee.
the Patrick Troughton one isn't very popular, I don't believe.
No.
I like it. It's quite an enjoyable one.
Yeah, I just think, I mean, it's got the little funny little fella in it, hasn't it? The little,
Yeah.
I forgot what he's called now, the little Time Lordy guy.
Okay.
Am I thinking of that, or was that the John
Planet of
Pertwee
the Spiders. Yeah, that's
Is that the John Pertwee one? The one with the little weirdy guy?
Yeah, that's John Pertwee.
Okay, I'll take it back then. So, so the Patrick Troughton one is the one with the Time Lordy. No, you make him.
And War Games is an amazing story. It's great build up to the regeneration.
I think actually there's something really cool about the fact that Patrick Troughton, the second Doctor, was cheated, really, wasn't he? Because he didn't get into some situation which had him killed. He had his identity stolen from him by the Time Lords.
Do you think Classic Who did regeneration much better than New Who? Is the first question. And before I forget it, do you think that they created regeneration? They knew that regeneration was going to come, or was it just because William Hartnell wasn't going to survive much longer?
I think I'm going to survive much longer. If I answer that one first, I think it was something which was a convenience as a way of getting around it. And let's face it, it was a brilliant idea.
It was a brilliant idea. Very different.
In terms of the other one, do I think classic regenerations were better? I don't think, from an effect perspective, they were better. I think they look a lot better now.
They look a lot better, but
But as you mentioned earlier on, they're a little bit more predictable, really, in their
they're always different in classic.
Yeah, and I think they make a bigger thing of it now.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, I find that the 10th Doctor, I don't want to die bit sort of thing, a bit cringy.
Yeah,
you know.
No.
But I think that's just symbolic of how OTT things could be in that particular era.
I mean, The End of Time is quite a good episode. Are you just hating the end sequence because it's because it's David Tennant?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is it because it's dragged out? I like the actual regeneration sequence. I don't like the bit before it though.
It's the bit when he's going around seeing everybody.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I don't like that, but I like the actual regeneration sequence.
Yeah, that's fine. What other? Okay, here's a question for you then. What do you think is the best regeneration story against the actual regeneration scene?
Best regeneration story. Lots of people would say in reply to this, Case of Antizani.
I think it's probably right. That probably would be correct.
Yeah.
Or War Games.
That's what I was going to say. I was building up to War Games.
Sorry, I ruined that for you, didn't I? Again, as always,
yeah,
clumsy old dad comes in. Clumsy old dad comes in and walks all over your lines.
Yeah.
War Games is a classic, isn't it?
It is.
One of the best Patrick Troughton episodes.
Yeah.
But in many respects, actually, the odd thing about that one is that the regeneration part of that story is quite set aside from the actual main story.
Yeah.
Isn't it? Really?
It's
like a separate little tag on in many respects. Okay.
Sure.
So, am I right in thinking that the Master has been responsible for more regenerations than any other villain?
Probably.
I mean, who's actually bumped off the Doctor over the years? If you take it from the top, take it from the first sequences.
Cybermen.
Yeah.
Time Lords. Spiders. Master. Sheriff. Well, Batmilk. What? It was the Spectrox toxemia.
Yeah.
We don't know. Well, I don't know. I think they reveal it in the Big Finish Adventures what kills the Sixth Doctor.
Okay.
I don't know though. The Master,
Mhm.
a healer, and the Time War, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because he wants to become a warrior. John Hurt. Why is it John Hurt?
John Hurt's. I can't actually remember what it is.
He just regenerates old age.
I think it's just old, yeah.
Ninth Doctor. Just he was.
It's like Daleks, isn't it?
Yeah. No, he absorbed the time vortex,
Oh,
didn't he?
yeah.
Master. And old age.
Okay,
Okay,
so actually, probably the Master is the top one there, but he's only got 2, isn't he? I was thinking he was more responsible for that. But
No, 3.
3, is it?
Wait.
Fourth?
Yeah, 3. 4th, 8th, and.
No, yeah. Okay, so 3, so he's well ahead. No one else managed more than once.
No. But so leave in the comments or leave on the Twitter accounts. We'll post something later on.
I think the question we'll tweet is what is the best regeneration?
Yes.
I think, and
episode or sequence?
Best sequence, I would say. Which is the best regeneration from which Doctor to which Doctor? And if people listening now want to tweet to us, my Twitter address is Mark with a C. That's Mark Freak Geek.
And the Doctor Who Time and Space Twitter account is Doctor Who Time and Space.
So feel free to tweet us anyway if you want. We'd love to hear from you.
If you have anything to talk about.
Even if you don't, if you want to just talk about the weather, what are you up to tonight? Oh, we're going to be eating curry in a minute.
Yeah.
Whatever you like.
Anything.
Shall we crack on? Shall we crack on and talk a little bit about the Ice Warriors?
Yes.
Okay, so third segment of the show, the Ice Warriors. The Ice Warriors selected from the randomizer.
Yes.
Our spreadsheet full of every Doctor Who episode ever. We press the button and then it randomly picks one for us to watch. We got very excited when the Ice Warriors came up. Ice Warriors then, Patrick Charlton, second Doctor episode. A couple of bits missing.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about
2, I think.
it is 2. Yeah. So what we have, the BBC people kindly inserted a cartoon version of it.
Well, they didn't with the Underwater Menace.
No. But they did with this one.
Yeah, they did.
That's good. So lessons to blow the missing episodes. Excuse me. If I can try and talk without fucking my guts up. So this sees us in the future. What we've got here is the staff of this base struggling to control this ionizer they're using to try and slow down the glaciers that are rolling over Britain. The leader of them, a guy called Clent, is basically got it in his head he can stop a new ice age occurring, but they know they're not long away from having to actually abandon the base that they're in. There's tensions between Clent and a scientist guy, Penley, and as a result of that, Penley's actually defected from the team, and he's living out in the rough with this weird scavenger guy whose name I can't remember. Whilst one of the other scientists is out searching around the planet, he discovers this block of ice with an armoured man inside it. Now, it's around this sort of time that we meet the Second Doctor and Jamie and Victoria. They come to the base and they sort of meet up with the guys. And basically, the attention focuses in on this body that's encased in ice. So, as the Doctor's examining the body, he basically realises that we're not talking here about some historical find. We're looking at some alien being, and it turns out to be the first appearance ever of the Ice Warriors. The Ice Warrior mounts through, the icebox mounted, and he comes to life, and that's really where the adventure kicks off. And it becomes a bit of a sort of So it's interesting, isn't it? Because we talked about it early on. The Doctor actually doesn't meet the Ice Warriors until episode 5.
No, he doesn't.
But there's a lot of they come to life, or the first one comes to life end of episode 1.
Yeah.
And then gradually the other ones are in the craft.
So 2 is it?
I think it's either in the 2 or in the 3.
He sent 2, I think.
Yeah.
And the 3's when they tried to kill Victoria.
So Victoria and Jamie come to meet the Ice Warriors early on, but the Doctor doesn't meet them until episode 5. But what were your general thoughts on this story?
The Ice Warriors very slow at the beginning, as we talked about last week, but as it picked up, it got into a really good story. This is the second time watching it. I've been looking forward to watching it, and it's a good opening story for the Ice Warriors, a classic film.
I think what I liked about the Ice Warriors the most this episode was probably the last couple of episodes, when it really focuses in on the disagreements between Clint and Penley, which are largely based on Clint's reliance on the computer.
Yeah.
And Penley, being sort of more of a maverick sort of scientist, he believed that sometimes you can't rely on a computer. There's got to be that gut feel. You've got to be take a risk. And that really comes to a head in the final episode.
Yeah, it does.
Where the computer is working out all these calculations and basically playing it safe because it knows that it doesn't have any favourable options. So Doctor and Penley, meanwhile, they work more off of instinct. They work more off of this feels like less of a risk than this feels. And all's well that ends well. But I thought that whole concept of computers was really good.
Yeah, it was.
And the fact
very interesting.
The other thing that always makes me laugh, I mean, when you take these stories, so this episode came out.
Music, is this?
I was thinking of the fact that this story came out in 1967 originally.
Yes, it did.
And the whole idea of what a computer will look like in the future is completely different than how computers actually look in the future.
It's very interesting to see what their interpretation was.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same with a lot of the 70s sci-fi programs, because there was a lot of them around then, and the computers were generally fairly large with lots of flashing lights on them. Whereas now, you only have to look at an iPhone or whatever, which is quite a powerful computer in its own right. It's a really diddy thing you can stick in your pocket. So there we have it. Noticeable mentions.
Okay.
Varga. The Ice Warrior.
Played by Bernard Bresslaw, star of Carry On Films.
Carry On Films, Bernard Bresslaw.
Yeah.
Wowza. The big guy. Sadly no longer with us, but I hadn't realised that, so it was until you mentioned it.
Yeah.
But that was fun. Which of the characters did you really like?
I thought Penley was a very interesting character.
He was, yeah. Yeah, he was good. And, to start with, I think I talked about this a little bit in the last episode when we were discussing the story, and I couldn't grasp what the relevance of Penley was.
What about Storr?
Storr, is he the other guy?
Yeah.
The really Scottish.
Angus Lenny.
Yeah.
I don't really see too much reference in him.
No, I'm not sure what the relevance of him was. I think it was just so that he could get killed later on. And
so they could have a cool Ice Warrior death.
Yeah. And because he had a big bushy beard.
Yeah.
Okay, companions-wise, we had Jamie and Victoria.
Yes.
What do you make of them?
Now we're planning on meeting Jamie at London Comic Con and Victoria at Bournemouth Comic Con.
I recommend that we turn up with a big bushy beard.
I love those companions.
Yeah.
I think Jamie is a good companion, a good male companion, a long-running companion as well. And Victoria, as we said before, me and Deco weren't too fond with her at the start of watching her episodes, but now we've gone to grow to love her.
I really, really like Victoria.
Yeah.
It's really odd. I think to start with, I found her a little bit screamy, a little bit helpless.
And to be honest, she is. But
she is. But there was, she's very pretty, and I think that maybe that's what's balance. She's very pretty companion.
Yeah.
Do you think? Excuse me. Do you think 6 episodes is about the right length for this.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah.
It would be too short if it was 4.
Mhm.
It didn't really seem too rushed.
How does it compare to you in comparison to the other Ice Warrior episodes that you've seen? You've seen all of the Ice Warrior ones, haven't you?
It's not near the top.
No. There's certainly, I mean, we've watched, since we've been doing the randomizer, we've watched the Ice Warriors and Curse of Peladon.
Yeah.
And I much prefer Curse of Peladon.
Yeah.
However much I really love Patrick Chowan.
Yeah, I know.
But yeah, it was slower than I was anticipating. And I like slow things. Right? It probably wasn't as good a story as I thought it was going to be.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed it still.
Yes.
I had a feeling it was going to be like an absolute classic, and I wouldn't say it was an absolute classic.
It wasn't, but it was still enjoyable.
I really like the actual Ice Warriors themselves.
Me too.
They were brilliant. So,
was it better than Cold War, by the way? You've seen that one as well.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Cold War, I do like Cold War a lot, and I think that was a really good reintroduction of the Ice Warriors. Yeah. But no, I think this is probably stronger.
Yeah.
So, what else have you got to comment on this?
Should we move on to scores?
Yeah.
Monsters.
Monsters, the Ice Warriors. 9.
And character development.
7. Not really too much.
Was it 9 the one before?
Yeah.
Yeah. Pace.
It's got a very good pace on it. It's got a slow pace,
Yeah.
a very good one. I'll go for about 8, I think.
And excitement.
Is it exciting?
A little bit. Sometimes.
Yeah, I'll probably give it. I think I'll probably give it a 7 for excitement.
Yeah.
I think excitement's when it's straight.
So 31 out of 40 for that. What's your rating for the overall episode out of 10?
Probably about 8.
Yeah, I'm going to say an 8.1.
Okay. So there we have it. So that's the Ice Warriors. Definitely worth giving it a view.
It is.
Brings us on probably to when we press the magic randomizer to see what we're going to be watching over this week and talking about next week. So, are you going to fire away on that?
Do you need to explain it?
I think I've sort of explained it wrong, but very briefly, Excel spreadsheet, every Doctor Who episode ever in it. We've got a macro into it, we press the button, it randomly picks a story, we watch it, we talk about it. Okay.
Usually takes a little while for us to tell you what it actually is. So.
That's because we're either cursing or full of excitement.
Yeah.
So what's coming this time?
So we can't watch that on it's Chris.
Okay. Right. So we were talking really well about whether or not we were going to get a new Who or an old Who. We've got a new Who. You skipped the first one because it came with the Christmas episode.
Yeah. Christmas Carol. And we can't watch Christmas Carol at this sort of point, but it's a 2-parter this week.
It's a 2-part? What is it?
It is the Daleks in Manhattan / evolution of the Daleks. I had to do that.
Okay. So David Tennant
here
with Martha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I like Martha's.
I do as well. I'd be interested to see what we think of this. I think I've only seen this once, and I enjoyed it the first time around. It tends to be one that people generally don't think that highly of.
No.
So, it'd be interesting to see what people think. Okay.
Interesting.
So, there we have it. We'll be talking about that. Can we fit that in? What we do watch? One part Wednesday, one part
Saturday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. So,
Okay.
moving on then. The final part of the show. Who to face?
Who to face?
So Who to face
with Louis Moon and Deacon.
It's a similar sort of randomizer concept. We've got a spreadsheet full of doctor names. We've got a spreadsheet full of villains. We press the button. It will come up with a doctor to face a villain, and we both, off the top of our heads, try and make up a story to entertain you.
Okay.
So
who's going first? Is it me?
Yes, you go first. Always the toughest job. Actually, the toughest job is for me to actually know who it is we're talking about. So I've got such poor memory.
Okay.
So let's go for it. I know this one.
Okay.
So
robots with the 7th Doctor.
Okay.
So
7th Doctor being
Sylvester McCoy.
Okay. And the Vox robots being from the
Robots of Death. So this one's called The Abandoned Space Warehouse.
Okay.
Quite a long title.
Yeah.
So the Doctor and Ace arrive on this abandoned sort of space warehouse, and they find out soon that it's not abandoned, and there's those loads of party people who are taking advantage of the Voc robots and are taking them as slaves and prisoners, and the Doctor and Ace find out that there's been like this war in the crew. Everyone's sort of turning against each other, and later on, the Doctor and Ace go to the TARDIS to pick some stuff up, and they accidentally dematerialize and land 300 years in the future, and basically now there are no humans. The Voc robots are now in charge of the ship, and you find out that there are humans. They're in the jails working for the Voc robots, and the Voc robots have now come onto the ship, and they spot the Doctor, and he's because Ace has vanished off looking somewhere out in the ship for humans. So the Doctor is taken by the Voc robots, and soon he is forced to go on a trial by combat. Little does he realise the person he's forced to go against is Ace.
Ooh.
So, will one of them die?
Dun, dun, dun. Cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. You got anything else to add to that?
No.
Story?
Yes.
Okay, that's unfortunate because I haven't yet fully worked the story out myself, but I'm going to go for it anyway.
Think how I felt.
This one is going to be called The Voc Bride.
Okay.
Okay, so again, it stars the Seventh Doctor.
Who's the companion?
It's going to be. When did these come into it? Which series?
What?
She wasn't in it straight away, was she?
Is it the second series?
Yeah, so it was Mal, wasn't it, the first series?
Yeah.
So I think I'll have Mal in it, just for an annoyance factor. And because it's in that first series, this story isn't particularly great. But it's called The Voc Bride. And basically, the Seventh Doctor takes Mal to a fancy dress costume in space. Okay?
Yeah.
Probably because he's trying to lose her, but unfortunately he doesn't. And the Doctor is quite humorously disguised as a cricketer.
Okay.
And looks very much like Sylvester McCoy dressed as the Fifth Doctor. But it gives him an opportunity to wear something slightly different. And Mal is dressed wearing the costume of a Cyberman.
Okay.
Okay, or a Cyberwoman. Which isn't really relevant to my story, but they get introduced to this professor guy, the scientist guy, and he starts talking about this experiment he's been undertaking. And the Doctor immediately becomes quite critical of this and a bit concerned, because what the professor, who is called Professor Splog, what he's been doing is he's taken his wife, who he'd had this big argument with, and he'd implanted part of this Voc robot that he'd found into her skull.
Cool.
And as a result of that, his wife, because he wanted to make like the perfect servant, he basically didn't think that she was serving him enough. Because he was very pig-headed. He very much believed in the old principles where the man was the one that worked and he was a scientist, and the wife should just be washing the dishes and things like that. So he implanted this Voc robot, implanted it into her brain. But what he doesn't realise is that whilst the robot is serving him, it's also got this plan to basically bring back the Voc robots again.
Oh, cool.
And it's trying to recreate all the Voc robots. And the big reveal on that is when the professor actually comes to see whether or not his tea's on the table, and when his wife turns around, she's got the vodka in what face,
Yeah.
and she kills him. Okay.
Cool.
And so that's probably all I need to really sort of talk about.
Okay.
On that.
No spoilers.
No spoil. I don't want to spoil
Cool.
it. No.
Cool
Yeah.
storyline.
So yeah, there we have it.
Coolio.
That's our excuse me. That's our Who to Face for this
And our
week.
actual show.
And our show. So if that's our show done, what does that leave us with next week then?
So it's episode 163, and we're going to be looking at how Doctor's developed in the world of things that aren't Doctor Who.
I don't understand. What does that mean?
So, like spin-offs and
Okay.
audios and stuff, and how over the years, how Doctor Who has developed in other sources of media.
Okay,
We're running out of features.
Yeah, that's quite good. That's quite
It
good
is.
feature, really. So what impact? To put it another way, what
Yeah.
impact has Doctor Who had on media in
Yeah.
general? Okay, yeah, that sounds good. So, so we've got that. We'll also be talking about giving our review of the Daleks in Manhattan. Take Manhattan. What was it? Daleks Take Manhattan. Daleks in Manhattan. I can't remember.
In Manhattan.
In Manhattan. Yeah.
And we will be discussing the news.
We'll be discussing the news. We'll be doing another 3-minute rant.
We'll be doing more news.
And we'll be pressing the magic.
Oh yeah, it said news twice.
and we'll also be giving you more news.
And pressing the randomizer. And remember, if you have any topics about regeneration, please leave them in the comments or on Twitter. Thank you, and it's goodbye from me, Lewis Bean.
It's goodbye for me, Deacon, and we'll see you next week for the news.
See you next week for more news. Oh, and don't forget, I forgot about this, but don't forget that next week there's also more news. Bye.